What better way to spend your time on that back patio or indoors with a good book? Melissa Martinez of The Book Break is back with us with some recommendations, and you always give a nice array, a variety.
Yes, these are definitely a variety, and I like it too because Easter's coming up. We might not think about it because we're barely into March, but Easter's going to be here like in just a few weeks.
Well,
so
it's the beginning of April, so it's not too far away.
Yeah, April 4th. So all of these, I think, make a great, unique Easter gift, and especially the first book, The Hope of the Promise.
Yeah.
And that one's about,
this one.
Yeah, that one. So The Hope of the Promise, Israel in Ancient and Latter Days by Dr. Joseph Q. Jarvis. This one is a perfect Easter book. I love it because what Dr. Jarvis did is he actually runs tours in Israel. So he knows that area very, very well, and he's definitely a scriptorian. And so what's really cool is there are over 100 original photographs in this book. And through each photograph, he tells you a story, and he gives you insight into these places that you may not understand. And so this one is so fantastic for anyone that really wants to get into the spirit of Easter and learn more about biblical sites and not only what these things meant during biblical times, but what they mean for us today.
I love it because the pictures are in color.
Yes.
And I like how they spell out the history, and it's a nonfiction book, and if people want to dive into it, especially for the holiday, why not this book?
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that it's put together, you can sit down and read it from cover to cover, and you can also sit down and take it a piece at a time. So it's a fantastic Easter book, not just for yourself, but as a great gift.
Okay, the next one is for maybe a middle schooler.
Yeah. So Real is the next one here, and I loved this book so much. So this one stars a 13-year-old girl named Charity who has severe autism. Now, what I thought was so unique about this book is it's from the perspective of Charity. But Charity is non-communicative, so she doesn't speak, she can't sign, and we hear inside her head her thoughts and her experiences. And I love that this really promotes for us to remember everyone is a person and we should treat everybody kindly. And it's such an engaging story. So it is definitely for middle schoolers, but adults will totally love it too. And it is engaging enough to keep everyone's attention.
Well, don't you love books like this? It gives you, I think, at the end of the story, some empathy of people who are different or who learn differently, who think differently. Just because you're not audible doesn't mean you have those important thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I really loved that, because I think sometimes when we see somebody with a physical disability that can't speak, maybe we assume that they don't think on the same level as us. But what we learned from this is that their mind is still just as capable of thinking as ours, just because they can't communicate. So this was fantastic. The authors with this, one of the authors is also autistic, and so she was able to give some really great perspective too. So definitely Real is a great book too.
I love that, everything you're saying about it, and especially for the kids. Middle schoolers, such an important and indelible time for them, and to learn about different people.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one, an escape. It's a romance novel.
Definitely. A Captain for Caroline Gray by Julie Wright. This is a total escape, just like you said. And it's a Regency proper romance. And Caroline Gray has a difficult time because she's a woman that speaks her mind. And during the Regency romance era, that was not a positive thing. So even though she's a beautiful woman, no one wants to marry her, and she soon finds herself in a situation that if she doesn't get a husband soon, she's going to be homeless. And so she agrees to go and meet a man in India, and almost like an arranged marriage, but it's a 3-month trip on the seas. and there's some really interesting things that happen on the ship. And she starts to even think about this captain on the ship. So there's a captain on the ship she's thinking about, and a different captain in India. So
well, there's all these captains.
Yes.
Which one will she end up with,
exactly.
if any? All right.
Exactly.
Melissa, thank you so much. You will win a copy of each of these books if you enter at thebookbreak.com. Winners will be notified this Thursday. You don't have a lot of time, but wonderful books. Thank you so much,
yes,
Melissa.
You bet.